Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the HazMat podcast, episode number 26. I am your host, Chris from HazMat, and today I want to talk about asbestos anxiety, or anxiety around asbestos. Now, I'm sure it's probably not in a psychological book. I don't think a term has actually been coined, but I do know that there are a lot of people that can get very anxious when thinking about asbestos, and what I would like to do is just provide a little bit of balance to help everyone feel a little bit better about the subject. Lord knows we have spoken a lot about the dangers and the hazardous nature of asbestos and its carcinogenic properties. So I thought we'd do an episode to kind of not counter it exactly, but just to shed a little light from the other side. So there's obviously a range of people or a range of opinions that people have about anything, but about asbestos, I've met a lot of people where there are groups that don't believe in it as such, being a health risk. They think that we're scaremongering and that it's a bit of a red herring. And then you've got another group of people that are fine with asbestos, knowing that if they leave it alone, it's generally harmless. And so they're more than happy to go on with life, realizing that as long as they're not disturbing it or disturbing the hell out of it, that they're perfectly fine. But there is, from time to time, another group of people, and they are petrified. They are terrified of asbestos. They don't want to say the word. They don't want to enter a building if it has an asbestos product in it. And they are very, almost to the point of paranoia for some people, of the dangers of asbestos. So, as I've mentioned, that might not be completely misplaced concern, but we need to get it into a bit of a context. So the first thing I want to talk about is we all breathe in asbestos fibers. I'm sure everybody's inhaled asbestos fibers, whether or not it's from living in a building that has asbestos in it, or walking past a roof in the street that is an asbestos-containing roof, or there are even parts of the world where asbestos is naturally exposed. You know, this is a naturally occurring mineral, and there is respirable fibers actually created in nature. So I'm sure to some extent we've all had a whiff. So you need to understand that inhaling an asbestos fiber is not a death sentence. The second thing that I would point out is that, as I mentioned earlier, asbestos, if it's undisturbed, it's not any risk to you. The idea of asbestos, or where the danger comes in, is from breathing the fibers into your lung tissue. So as I just mentioned, we all breathe it in to some extent, but certainly the less the better, that's for sure. So as long as you have an undisturbed building product with asbestos in it, then it's not going to jump out and bite you. It's only when it's agitated severely that it can become a risk of breathing in too much. And probably the third point is that it's similar. There are people that breathe asbestos in maybe fairly regularly, and maybe more than what is recommended, that show no physical deterioration at all. No cancer diagnoses, live a full and happy life, and it really plays no factor. So I guess it's kind of like smoking, which is obviously frowned upon and it is dangerous and can cause cancer, but you do have, I'm sure we all have members of the family that got on well into their old age smoking like a chimney, and it wasn't really an issue at all. So whereas some poor guy might smoke a cigarette and may get the severe consequences from that. So in general, not everyone that breathes in asbestos is going to be affected by it anyway. So the idea behind this episode is to just try and keep this all in context, and I try to reassure some of the people that really panic about it that, hey, we all breathe it in to some degree. A lot of people don't seem to be affected by it at all anyway, and it's really unavoidable. And the main thing we can do is treat this mineral with respect, and we don't unnecessarily go into asbestos, respirable asbestos environments, at least without the correct training and the correct safety equipment. It's certainly something that you don't want to expose yourself to any more than you need to. But yeah, I think if we treat that with respect and use a little bit of common sense, don't go to anywhere near a site that is asbestos removal in progress. If you've made an asbestos mistake, i.e. damaged some material that could be asbestos or whatever, you should probably vacate the area. But these are added precautions just to make sure that you are on the safer side of the spectrum. So a very brief episode today, but I just thought it was time to shout out that, look, breathing asbestos in doesn't mean an automatic death sentence. Yes, it is a dangerous product. Yes, it needs to be handled correctly by professionals when it comes to removal or any sort of treatment or encapsulation of it. But certainly, just keep an open mind that you can still get out of bed in the morning and go about your day. You're not going to keel over from breathing in some asbestos. All right, so that will wrap it up for episode number 26. It's a little briefer than normal, but it's probably a good thing. I'll be happy to come back next week with another episode of the HazMat podcast. Just before I go, please subscribe to this channel, add a like, it takes a second. Feel free to comment if you would like to add some comments in there that will help us for future episodes or suggestions of topics to talk about. And share it amongst your friends. There's a couple of clicks you can do, but that will help us out a lot. So thank you very much. This is episode number 26, and I will see you next week.